What's up? You're watching the Electric Runway YouTube channel where we cover the intersection of fashion and technology. I'm your host, fashion tech journalist and blogger Amanda Costco. Thank you so much for tuning in. So today I'm going to take you back a few months ago to an event that Electric Runway did earlier in May. InStore was an immersive event on the future of retail, and namely we wanted to focus on how leading technologies, augmented reality, virtual reality, and artificial intelligence are going to impact the future of how we buy and sell. So you've heard of e-commerce before. Now how about v-commerce? In this conversation, I'm speaking with Daniel Beauchamp. He's the head of virtual reality for Shopify, the leading online retailer that helps small and medium-sized businesses sell goods online. And he was there to speak with me all about the future of how we're going to be shopping in virtual reality. I hope you enjoy this conversation from Electric Runway's event InStore. Please join me in welcoming Daniel Beauchamp to the stage.
Although slight correction, I've been at Shopify way longer than I've been doing VR there.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Started on product and data, and now doing VR.
Let's start there.
Okay.
So you got into Shopify in the beginning,
Yeah.
and then you convinced them, and that's how you got your title, but you were with Shopify for a long time.
Correct.
Okay, and so what were you doing before?
I was working on core product as a developer. I was working on the data team. And then my passion has always been game development. And with the boom in VR, I started getting into that. And I said, we need to be doing stuff around this. And started a team.
Awesome. I just want to remind everyone that if you want to tweet throughout the night, you can use the hashtag InStore to share your thoughts. Hands up, how many people know of Shopify? Oh, great. Okay, good. We have some retailers in the room who use it, and I'm sure a lot of people have heard of it because it's a Toronto Canadian success story. And so
I would add one question though. Hands up, how many of you have tried either an HTC Vive or Oculus Rift, the current generation VR headset?
Slightly fewer.
Okay, how many of you have not tried it out? Everyone else? Cool. You have to try it. I will be up here talking about VR, talking about how cool it is. I'll be waving my hand saying it's amazing. Don't believe me, just go try it, and then you will believe how magical this technology is. It is total see it to believe it stuff. It's wild.
So I actually didn't know that Shopify had a virtual reality team until we started chatting. So maybe we could start there. What does your team look like, and what are you working on right now for the future of shopping?
Yeah, so we're a small R&D team. We're made up of really, really talented game developers and 3D artists. And our mission is simple: explore how virtual reality and commerce goes together. And so we're creating a lot of prototypes and proof of concepts, but as we're building them, we're driven by the why. Why would someone go out of the way to put on a headset and shop in VR when they could use something more convenient like a mobile phone or their laptop? It's beyond the hype, because now everyone's hyping it up, everyone's saying, oh, it's amazing, try it out. You try it out, cool. But if we want VR and shopping to actually have a place in the long term, there actually has to be something compelling. There's something worthwhile that people would say, yes, I'm going to use this to shop. And that's really the question that's driving us.
So I've tried 2 Shopify VR experiences. The first one, I don't remember what it was called, but I know you made it for your developers conference, and it was showing different sales floor scenarios and where virtual reality might be useful. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about that? Do you know which experience I'm talking about?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
So so far we've kind of found 2 areas where VR is like a really strong use case for shopping. The first one is actually when you're buying stuff of scale, something where size matters. You go online, you're shopping for a couch, you're shopping for a lamp, you're shopping for something where you look at a product photo and you're like, how big is this thing? And yeah, there's a photo, and it might be in a living room with other stuff for context. There might be some specs there and whatnot, but really, it's only until you see the thing do you go, oh, okay, that's how big it is.
Or maybe see the thing in your own apartment.
Fair. And I bought a humidifier last week, and I thought it was going to be this big, and it was that big. And like just because the photos were misleading, and sure I could have done my homework and like measured it out and everything. When I just saw the photo, I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
But that's cumbersome and it's friction for the buying experience.
But if I do have a VR headset, I could pop it on, see that product if there is a 3D model available, and go, okay, cool, that's it there, and I can at that point maybe customize it, and so I have this full experience around it, and then I go to purchase it. So it gives more confidence in the online purchasing scenario.
But do you think AR could solve that? Because we're seeing a lot of visualization technologies with AR that allow you to hold up your mobile phone and I can see, okay, that couch is going to look like that in my apartment. So do we really need to immerse ourselves for that, is my question.
It depends on what you are buying. Yes, a couch, I kind of want to see what that looks like in my living room. A tent, for example, I don't need to see that in my living room.
Yes, yeah. And so in one of the experiences, I was looking at tents. I was in the, was it the Vive? It was the Vive. And we were looking at tents, and we were out in the mountains, and then it took me to a different scenario, and it was showing all these different shopping experiences and these shopping kind of scenarios. The other one I tried was Thread Studio, which I find so fascinating because when we talk about the VR landscape right now when it comes to fashion, we see lots of experiences for consuming fashion. So I can watch a runway show, or I can be transported to the backstage of a Dior event, but not so much for creating fashion. And now I see a kind of tipping point where we're actually starting to see VR for creating fashion, not just consuming it, and Thread Studio falls in line with that, so maybe you could talk about that.
Sure, yeah, so when we talk about VR and commerce, it's important to realize that shopping is just one part of that. Our customers are our merchants, the people who create and sell beautiful products every day. How can VR help them manage their stores or create products? So Thread Studio was an app that we put together to kind of show an example of what could be done. And what it is you are in this nice looking studio. You can upload or bring with you designs that you have for, let's say, t-shirts that you'd want to make. And then you can put those designs on these mannequins that are in front of you. And the mannequins look like they would in real life, and they're wearing t-shirts, and you can swap between male and female mannequins, and you can lay out your t-shirt designs. So now you'll see exactly what that shirt would look like when you get it in person, and you can move it around and scale the logos up and down, and you can choose either to buy the shirt and it'll get printed and sent to you, or you can, in real life, or you can open up a Shopify store and sell the thing. So compared to, let's say, online mock-up generators, where you kind of just see a photo of the thing, like, this actually looks like what you see is what you'll get. It is no longer just an approximation where there's still some guesswork and you go, oh, I hope this is going to look good when it's actually printed on the shirt.
Yeah, and visualization. I mean, we saw that in our demo area where we had Metaverse showing what merchandising could look like in virtual reality, because you don't know what a space is going to look like until you're actually physically there, and so you could use it for that. Is Shopify working on anything? Like, I know Thread Studio is working on the designer side of things, but what about on the let's say the whole back end of fashion? Is there any space there that you want to innovate?
I think that's where a lot of our augmented reality stuff and exploration is coming into. It's kind of awkward to think of how virtual reality could help, let's say, managing inventory or like that whole supply chain of things, whereas with augmented reality, you can imagine wearing goggles, being in this back room or being in a warehouse, and just at a glance seeing like, okay, I need to put together this order, I need to go to that box over there, I see what the quantity is in there, I need to go to that box over there, and that one, package it up and ship it on, and it's on its way, and I'm just wearing these like sleek little glasses, and I'm still, like you said before, the world is still around me, it's just being augmented by these digital elements. So that's stuff that we're looking at.
Interesting. There's so much I want to talk about when it comes to Shopify and VR. When I think about virtual reality and this problem of fit, I'm thinking about visualization. Are you working on anything like that in terms of, like, beyond Thread Studio, anything in terms of visualization where you're collecting body data?
No, not yet. We are, though, collaborating with a few startups, many of them Canadian, who are looking at the body scanning, the fitting of clothes. Right now, we're pretty focused on hard surfaces and hard goods. It's kind of like the lower hanging fruit right now. Yeah. So modeling furniture, you're modeling tables, desks, these hard goods. Fitting of clothes, that is like a never-ending.
It's a huge pain point for the industry. It's a huge challenge, and it's something I've been thinking about a lot lately. So I know there are some Toronto-based companies that are working on this. How do you see? Just give me a second here. Virtual goods. So when we're shopping in virtual reality, are we going to be shopping for real goods that are going to come to our house, or for digital goods?
I think both. Like right now, more virtual goods are being sold in VR than physical goods, and that's all thanks to
like what? Sorry to interrupt you.
Well, it all stems from the gaming market. If you look at all the free-to-play games, you look at Pokemon Go, where you're spending real money to buy stupid items to boost up your Pokemon or like get more Pokemon. Those are all virtual goods that people are buying every day. All those same mechanisms that enable those in-app purchases are available on VR platforms. If you look at Second Life, 10 years ago, and what people were doing in this kind of online world where you had your own Second Life persona and you could have your own apartment and job and all this stuff, that's being translated over to VR right now. And of course people are going to be like, I want a new couch, I want a new car, I want a new whatever, all in VR. And they're going to be paying real money for it. That's kind of cool, kind of scary, but...
But if you think about it, we already pay for softwares like Shopify, which is not a tangible good, but it's providing us a service. So it's not too far of a leap.
Right.
But I think about, I already have to dress myself, and it's a pain enough. What about if I have to dress my avatar? Is that going to cost me money? What's that going to be like? I'm really interested in where that's all headed.
Well, the avatar is an interesting question because in VR, do you want to look like yourself? Like, if I do want to look like myself, maybe I want to be like a hunkier, more muscular version of me, or maybe I want to be a dragon.
Or a unicorn.
I can be whatever I want, right? And I think that's what's important, is like with VR, you can be a wizard. Like you can be anything you want. And that's why like my biggest gripe with people doing commerce in VR is when they just recreate the real life shopping experience of like, it's such a limiting view. Like in VR, I can do anything I want, be anything I want. Like I'm a wizard, and wizards don't shop at a virtual Eden Center. Right? Like
I'm a wizard, and wizards don't shop at the virtual Eden Center. Someone tweet that, please.
The example I always give, and going back to the tent, is like, let's say you're shopping for a tent in VR from the comfort of your own home. Do you want to be in a virtual camping store? Or do you want to be on the mountain or the forest that you'll actually be using this thing in? And around you is all the goods you'll need, and you can reach up and grab the sun and make it nighttime and change the weather and see how that affects the reflectivity of the tent, you name it. VR is such an amazing storytelling platform, and brands need to take advantage of that. Really, for the first time, brands can take people and put them in the stories that their products tell. And you have to take full advantage of that, not just restrict yourself to like, I'm in a shopping mall,
Yeah, like we saw from Alibaba.
Right.
Which was so isolating and weird.
Alibaba made this thing, it's like a Macy's like shopping experience where it's Google Street View, and you're just like, click next, and you go like 2 feet forward,
and
click
the
next,
mall
2
is
feet forward.
completely empty.
I don't want that. That looks like a zombie apocalypse when you have like this empty mall.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to be looking for stuff. I just want to say, like in the Matrix, like sectionals, lots of sectionals, and all these sectionals appear around me, and I go, red ones only, and only the red ones are there. I'm like, cool. Like, feel like a wizard. This is VR.
So I really appreciate your kind of like pie in the sky vision for VR, and I'm really excited for it. But for the average retailer who, Shopify has made a name for itself by helping small to medium-sized businesses sell their products. For the average retailer who has a furniture shop or a designer who's selling clothes, do you imagine VR is going to help them in their everyday sales experience?
Tough to say right now. I mean, a lot of our merchants, they sometimes still struggle taking good photos of their products. Can you imagine me going to them being like, photorealistic 3D models of your goods, please? And so that side is like, the hardest part of all of this is not actually viewing the goods, it's how do you digitize your products? How do I get my products into 3D so they can then be in VR? And there are a few tools out there right now, but I don't think they're good enough for your mom and pop shop to just like take out their phone, take a 3D scan, and like the product looks beautiful enough to put on their site.
Maybe one day.
One day, and I think it's coming soon.
Very cool. Well, we look forward to that future. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.